Hey folks, have you been looking for help creating characters, objects, and locations and want to create a game out of it? Well, today's review of Roll for Your Life is for you. You may be familiar with the title Roll for Your Life because we reviewed a couple of chapters of this a few months ago. I think it's actually been almost a year. And they just finished the completed book and reached out to us and asked if we would review the full thing. So here we go. Okay, so if you haven't watched our previous video or you need a little bit of a refresher, Roll for Your Life is a game where you create characters, locations, even some objects by rolling dice and following along with the prompts. Each entry you roll for all of these different categories, and the different outcomes provide you information that you fill out and create this character, place, thing with. There are 3 different genres within this book. There's fantasy, sci-fi, and adventure, which is kind of a catch-all genre because it has like Western, but also pirate and Noir Detective, and Evil Mastermind, I'm sorry. There are 15 different entries, 5 in each genre. I will list them all up here, which I think is a nice mixture, especially for fantasy and sci-fi. You have both characters as well as some locations, and even within sci-fi you have a thing with the ray gun. And then under the adventure, it really is just all characters, but kind of within the characters, there are details in there for locations. The thing that I really like about this is that the categories not only are there to describe what the character looks like and a little bit about like who they are, it also has some good prompts about like where do they live, what are some of their weaknesses, or what is the driving factor. There's a good mix of descriptive, so like what do they look like, how old are they, those types of things, but then also bits about their personality and who they are, and some things that can help spark some really interesting ideas. So to play the game, you just need this instruction. There are free character sheets that you can download on their website, or you can just write everything down on your own, and you just need a couple of dice, 6-sided dice. So most of the time you are rolling one single die to determine the outcome for each category, and you write them down, and then at the end you have a character. I do like that in the rule book they have the list of all of the different categories and outcomes, and some like subcategories. We'll get into that in a moment. But then at the end of each chapter, they also have an example. So you can see how do all of these things come together to create a character, to create kind of the story of who this character is. They did a really good job of highlighting the sections that are, hey, this deviates from the normal template. This is done with italicized brown text, which I think is great because not only are you noticing it because it's italicized, but also it's in a different color. So that draws your attention a little bit more, but I like that it's also italicized. So if you like are colorblind, you can still see that. Good design choices. But yes, there are some entries that have like a subcategory. For example, like the wizard, if you roll under the items, you roll staff, there is a subcategory of how is the staff adorned. There are also some times where you may need to roll twice. So for example, for the dungeon denizens, you roll for 2 different outcomes. And again, this has another subcategory under the people category. Or you may be rolling on a table, such as the tech specs under spaceship. I really like the thought that has gone into each of these entries because each of the chapters are unique. Even looking at the differences between the wizard and the witch chapter, it very much is all of the categories and outcomes are crafted with a wizard in mind, with a witch in mind. Now, one bit of criticism is you may look at it and be like, there's a little bit of a cliche from time to time, such as wizard. What's their beard length? Oh, wizards must have beards. But I think if you have a character creation, you need to at some point like lean in or acknowledge the cliches with those characters. So that doesn't really bother me. Throughout the entire book are these gorgeous full color illustrations that provide all of these examples of the characters. And I like that each of the characters has like here's the category, a couple of categories that this illustration is helping to represent. It's nice to have that visual element there to add some additional inspiration. And I will say also the illustrations do a good job of, they feel very cohesive in the art style, but it crosses a wide variety of genres, as you would expect with the variety of genres that are in here. But also I feel like it has a good representation of different like cultural influences, especially I noticed this in the fantasy section where it clearly, like the dragon portion, there are some very traditional Western dragons, but there's also a dragon that feels very Miyazaki inspired, I will say. And I like that there is that element to it. So it provides a great example of like, yes, you don't have to stick with one specific genre or kind of cultural influence in mind. I want to take a moment to thank all of our patrons, especially Black Dragon Gaming. If you enjoy our videos, make sure you are subscribed and then head on over to patreon.com/rollforinitiative and check out the perks of becoming a patron. Speaking of being flexible, this is a very flexible game. You can just play it on your own to create stories and share them with your friends about these characters. That was the original purpose of the game. But I think this is also a very excellent tool for creating characters and locations for other campaigns, for other games. I think for game masters, this can be especially useful. Like, I will definitely use the tavern generator at some point, because I think taverns are something that I personally have a hard time coming up with, like, unique, interesting things. And looking at all of the prompts in here, there's stuff that I would not necessarily think of to figure out or to flesh out, but makes it feel like a real life location, makes it feel unique. And then also just using it to generate some NPCs. Even within the evil mastermind section, you can use the plot and target sections to help inspire what your villain does. Like, perhaps the NPCs have thwarted their initial plan, but you don't necessarily want to get rid of that villain. Well, you could use that table to help inspire where to go next. Or you could help create the evil mastermind using this system. Also, I like that in the Noir Detective, it suggests like you can use the last few sections of this section to create the mystery and use that for an ongoing thing. And especially if you're using this as a group, have everybody roll it together instead of each person rolling their own case. At the end of the book, they do have some recommendations for TTRPGs that you could use to take the characters you've created and play a game with them. But I do think that they are transferable to any system. The ones they suggest are very rules light, very focused on creativity and storytelling, which I think is a good suggestion for these characters. But if you take them as the inspiration for your characters and then just stat them out for whatever system you want, that's great. Because I know for me, like, oftentimes I'll look through NPC stat blocks and be like, okay, this fits with what I need. But then I want to fill in the details about who this person is. And this game can help provide you with a fun way to do that. So yeah, I think it's excellent for creative blocks. I think this is a great game to even introduce, like, to kids the idea of TTRPGs and creating characters and stories through rolling dice and random tables. Now, if you are wanting to use this for character creation and you don't like the randomness of the table, you don't have to play the game necessarily, and there are rules for, like, do-overs. So if you don't like the outcome, you can re-roll, but you are supposed, if you play the game the right way, you're only supposed to have a set number of do-overs. If you're just using it for inspiration, you can keep re-rolling. But yes, I think if you want to play the game, like, with a group of people to help create characters and then take them into your own campaign, that's awesome. Now, I will say I do want to see some more branching out. I think especially for, like, the fantasy thing into other kind of fantasy characters, like perhaps a knight or a bard, a like wilderness rogue ranger type character. And they are planning on releasing some additional chapters. You can go follow their website to find out more. Now, these chapters are not going to be included in the price of the digital book. Obviously, they wouldn't be included in the physical book because they can't just like print them out and insert them for you. Which I understand, like, it's additional work. It's a lot of work and creativity went into these. A lot of work went into the illustration. I am very much in support of pay creators for their work. I do hope that they offer some kind of like discount if you bought the digital full book. Maybe you get a discount to it. I know they also mentioned there might be a possibility of a Patreon, so maybe you can get it through a discount at that way, as a way of being like, yes, I'm invested and I'm supported and I would like more beyond just this book. The PDF is available now for $25. You can buy that on their website or at DriveThruRPG, and they are doing pre-orders for a hardcover edition as well. Another note with the illustrations and the overall feel of this, it does feel like a all ages game. Like, adults can play this and find this very fun. I think it is also very kid friendly as well, and I like would love to see the characters that kids create with this. Just like the little bit of guidance and like chaos randomness of the dice that sparks their imagination. That sounds like fun. If you've picked up any of the chapters from Roll for Your Life, or you've gotten the full book, I would love to know your comments down below. If not, does this sound like something that you would enjoy? And what chapter, like what genre, character type place would you want to see them make next? I think for me, I would love to see what would I love to see? The sci-fi is so good. I like that there's like mutant and space stuff, alien, spaceship. But as far as fantasy, I think I would love to see a like ranger. Like, that seems like knight feels very like easy and stereotypical. I want to see like a ranger, like a nature-based, maybe not even nature-based, but that like, yeah, ranger. That's what I would love to see. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like and don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time on Roll for Initiative. Bye!